just so cheesy, but you know, I remember like when I used to hug Josh and to be able to embrace him in his darkest moments. He allowed that warmth to be wrapped around him. What bigger gift? If you go home and see your mum and you put your arms around your mum and your mum puts your arms around you, you will probably feel that in a different way. Because what I would give to Joshua to put his arms around me and for me to embrace Josh, I can't do that. I also know that there was something special about him as Josh, and that message needs to be shared to, you know, he needs to live on through many, many people. You might be living in pain, you might have faced trauma, you might be suffering, but please try your absolute hardest to remember that you have something that Josh will never have again. You have a life, and that life might be shit. Joshua's life was shit, but if we don't keep trying, how do we know at what point it's going to change?
People, you're now watching the Daily Devotion podcast, the space where we connect and engage with creatives from various industries to share insights on their journey thus far. I've not even asked the question to whether you do anything else for yourself outside of work. I just know that you don't.
It's very difficult because what does that mean for me? Because if you look at my life in 3 sections, you've got Alison Cope in capitals with lights around it, the campaigner. You've got Depzman's mum. You've got Alison. Alison Cope, you can't challenge her. You can't do anything that's going to remove any of this power. Depzman's mum is a combination of it all, and it's that enlightened empowerment and acknowledgement. But Alison, who is that? Who am I? Who is Alison? Because I'm not a mum to Josh anymore. I'm not a wife. I used to be married. I'm not employed by a company like I used to be. I don't know how to be Alison. The only thing I know how to do is try my best. So I try, and the fear of being able to stand as Alison is too overwhelming at the moment that it's very easy to slot back into the Alison Cope or the Depzman's mum. But this bit here, I'm not brave enough yet to be able to establish what that means. That's like teeny little letters of Alison. That one's huge, that one's massive. But little Alison in all of it, not quite sure yet.
I love how you said yet, though, because that yet, the individual that I've come to know in you over a very insightful conversation, is a person that will tap into that Alison.
I will try.
When that
Always
time
try.
becomes,
like, you know, there's something in me again that I think if I didn't do what I say I do, it's kind of hypocritical. Like the place that was mine and Joshua's place, which we obviously didn't own, was Ibiza. 6 months after Joshua died, I remember sitting on my sofa and thinking, right, am I going to lose what Ibiza meant to me? I'm going to get my passport, I'm going to get some euros, and I'm going to Ibiza on my own.
smashed it.
And I've got to try, and I did it.
Smashed it.
So I've done it, and I'll try, and I'll keep trying, and I don't know. So because I don't know, I can't give up on that, because who knows, you know. So one day there might be a moment where there's that shift, and that little section starts to grow, and we will see what happens. But you know, just to have that section and that section, even if I never achieve that section, nobody can ever say these sections were not smashed to their full capacity. And who, you know, say what you like about me, but
Glad that.
what have you done? What have, you know, if someone says, oh yeah, well, what? And you've done what? You know?
No, listen. it's rare that we acknowledge our own influence ever, and our own power and our own strength and our own ability to, you know, be impactful and touch. And I'm glad that you know that within yourself.
I think it's also important not to acknowledge that you think you can if you actually can't.
Yeah.
Because if the impact I had was based on my own opinion of myself, that's very dangerous. The impact is because people constantly tell me, show me, respond. It's very hard to have the arrogance to continue thinking you're something when in fact you're nothing. So Joshua's story is what changes lives, saves lives, impacts lives, and gives young people a very different perception of their own lives and who their choices will affect. And I just carry that message very well and able to actually tell them. I talk about his first arrest, his second, third, fourth, fifth, and off we go. Everything to do with his life, his dad, me, difficulties. And I'm telling them how hard it is and how difficult his life was, how traumatised, how much he suffered. But there was a defining moment in my son's life. And the bottom line through any of our lives is, would you ever be ready to say goodbye to your mom and your family? Would you? Would you actually genuinely in court be ready to be sentenced to life? Would you ready to be bleed out on the street? If the answer is no, we've got something to fight for. So if you've lost, traumatised, in pain, not I've told you. Who am I to tell you anything? You've just told me you've got something to fight for. So what's stopping you fighting for it? Is it society's message? Is it the facilities? Is it the support? If it is, fuck that. Where is the right message? Because we don't need that message. Let's find that message. So you have told me you've got something to fight for.
Fight for it.
Go on then. What's your problem? Because you've lost, you've traumatised. Okay, I acknowledge that. Josh is dead. What have you got? Oh yeah. Still. Well, go on then. And if you need some help, we're going to help you. Because I don't care what conviction you have, what you've done, who you've done it to, with respect, because you're in front of me now and you deserve to hear that you have a future. And so if we enable a young person, there's no point in me saying, you have a future, you are special, you are that. But if they've never felt that, my words mean nothing. You tell me if you've got something to fight for. Have you?
Yeah,
yes or no? Yes or no?
Script.
Reverse psychology, This, prison, gangs, violence, convictions, loss, trauma. Have you got something to fight for? Yeah, I have. And what's your point then?
Recording this, that, have you got something to fight for?
Yeah.
The cameras are recording.
Are they?
Have you got something?
Have you got something to fight
but
for?
it's so true. Joshua had something to fight for. What emotionally drew him to start the fight was looking at me and thinking, I don't want to be without her. What continued the fight, he wanted a life. He wanted a future. He wanted to be Depzman.
And he fought for that.
He fought.
Fought.
And as Josh, he fought, he won, he became. And as Depzman, no, he didn't. But it doesn't matter, because if he was a millionaire and if he'd have left £10 million behind him in a mansion, I'd have still had to live without Josh. So he actually left me everything I needed to stand back and keep going. And that was his love for me and my love for him. And that was all it took. So what's the most important thing? The word on your arm.
Love.
Sounds incredibly
Love.
cheesy.
No, man.
But
Love.
That's all you really
Love.
basically need, and everything else is workable. But without love, you've got nothing.
Thank you for you, man. I'm still not here, still. Wow, I swear, bro. It's gonna be... The thing is, a person once told me years ago, and it's a quote that I say quite a lot, and it says, if you can touch a heart, you can change a life. How many hearts are you touching, including mine? I don't need to speak for P. I'm sure he'll express Or of like everyone who you're touching is changing their life. It's definitely changing their life because that shift in perception and perspective, that's all it takes. So when Alison says, so I can't tell you who you are or what you need to feel to be someone or what to fight for. You tell me. You know what I'm saying? That can change your life. You're flipping the script.
Because
You're flipping the script, bruv. It's not about me. I'm telling you. It's about what you're telling
and my
me.
story isn't what changes the life. What changes the life is when they realise that there's a life to be changed.
Gems.
You know.
Yeah.
You know,
You're tough.
and that's
Tough.
how the impact happens. I don't make the mistake of telling them what they should be or how they should be. They have to know themselves and find out themselves. And then they sit there and you can see the moment that the penny drops. If I do this and this, I'm actually losing the only thing that I really want, which is my mum, my dad, my sister, or my life. Prison isn't life. You know, regardless of what they've lost, what they've had, what they've suffered with, you know. And again, it sounds so cheesy, but, you know, I remember like when I used to hug Josh and to be able to embrace him in his darkest moments. He allowed that warmth to be wrapped around him. What bigger gift? If you go home and see your mum and you put your arms around your mum and your mum puts your arms around you, you will probably feel that in a different way. Because what I would give to Joshua to put his arms around me and for me to embrace Josh, I can't do that. What gift can you give your mum tonight?
Powerful stuff.
You know, and what money can't buy, you know. And that's what Joshua gave me, and he gave it me every day, every moment of our unity had that. And everyone knew that. Everyone knew you cannot touch the love between me and him. You can't, you know. His murder shattered the bond to the physical form. That was destroyed. But the love thing is literally like two rays of electricity that go and it's just there. And if anyone tries to do that, they will get electrocuted and blown out of my way. You've got no chance. You can try and say whatever you like, do whatever you like, and you'll just be burned out of the water by what me and Josh have. So, you know, I'll take that.
Like how my head works and just the type of person I am, the one I'm thinking about, it's Josh, even though he was not here in the physical, he's still here in the spiritual, and him being in the spiritual, he's doing way much more than he would have done in the physical, because through you, like you said, you've worked with almost 1 million kids. Let's just talk about the number. Look how Josh's legacy is still living on through you, and how much more people he's going to touch, and for like on a positive level. Do you know what I'm saying? Because music can be perceived as positive, negative, depending on who you ask. But the work you're doing, do you know what I'm saying? And with what you just said, wow, like honestly, Alison, and you talking about you don't know yourself. I personally, from listening to you, I think you having Josh was you finding yourself. That's what I honestly believe.
No, I believe. I truly, truly believe that, you know, I was a lost soul. And in a way, I am a lost soul. But when it comes to knowing who I am Joshua's mum. And I will stand in front of any audience, in front of anybody, and that is exactly who I will be, with no doubt in my head that I am in this life and on this planet to be his mum. I was, and I am. And people say, yeah, but you're not there. But yeah, I am there. You know, and I will never, nobody could make me doubt that. You know, nobody can, anything that's said to me in relation to mine and Josh's relationship, you will never, ever, ever wobble anything in me within that. Again, Alison, people will say what they want to say, and that's, you will never ever ever make me not have confidence in who I was to Josh. You know, Joshua needed me in his life and I needed him, and so, you know, Alison was and is Joshua's mum, definitely. That's who I am.
Wow. Honestly. And honestly, I feel like he and yourself are gonna live forever, and not just in terms of fame, no, because when you change someone's life, your memory, your lessons stay with them. They will pass it on. So it's like, like Josh, for example, in my head, yeah, contagious. Yeah, he's immortalised. He's immortalised.
Yeah.
Not in statues or anything like that, but in spirituality, in teaching, in healing, he's immortalised. Honestly.
Like, master is still like he has that thing that everyone's trying to be in the flesh. You get me? He's immortalised. That's mad. That
immortalised, literally.
Mad that, you know.
He's immortalised, and not in the way that we think or that people think. Oh yeah, nah. Like the power. It takes so much power to do something positive to change someone's life. People underplay it. Like, do you know how much power you have for being the person you are?
Powers, bro.
Do you know how much strength it takes to being a positive person? Like,
Powers.
It's incredible. And like, even me saying this, I'm getting chills because I feel it. And if I don't feel it, I won't say it. You can ask Dom. Like, it is real power. Being able to stay positive and being able to change young people's lives. Because there's so many people who have the money, the finance, and where are they? Kids still struggling.
It's doing that though in a selfless manner. It's
yeah.
about, like, I'm doing this. It's not egotistic. It's not narcissistic. It's just in a selfless manner, bro. Selfless.
So beautiful, and a lot of people lack that. When we talk about human, you are a human. I personally can't say a lot of people are human when they lack that emotion, because that emotion is what makes us a human being in the purest sense. We are caring, loving creatures, self-caring, and what the world does over time, it forces you to almost have a thicker heart, a heavier heart. We start caring less about individual fellow human beings, and just your story alone, it's just beautiful. I feel like I'm waffling right now.
No, you're not.
Wow.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, and again, I can't explain why my heart never hardened when Josh died. It did the opposite. And I think that's his power, that, you know, he doesn't want me to give up, because, you know, it's difficult because I know he wouldn't want me in pain. I am in pain, but I also know that there was something special about him as Josh, and that message needs to be shared to, you know, he needs to live on through many, many people. And it's difficult as a mum because, you know, even when you're saying that about me, I find it very hard to take that in and go, yeah, thanks. I'm just like, it's a lot easier for me to go, I'll just give that to Josh. We'll give Josh the credit, because I don't know how to take that in a comfortable way that I'm like, yeah, look at me. I just think, right, I know how I do this. I know why I do it, how it comes across, what it does. I still struggle. It doesn't really kind of go in. I just think it's all because of Josh. And I actually mean that. I actually think if you were to give anybody the credit for who I am, it will be Josh. And even though people might go, yeah, but you've done this, but how could I have done it without being Josh's mum? So I find it really hard to take that and separate the two, because I think, well, who made me the way I am? Who gave me the ability to love in the way I do? Who enabled me to have the strength that I have? Who enabled
Josh?
Yeah, but Josh brought that out in me. I know. It's the two. It's the two. You know.
Synergy.
Totally.
Synergy.
Absolutely. And I think when that message is shared, because it's authentic and because people feel in their heart it makes it real to people that it's a priority, and it's, you know, young people are priority, and it's not based on their bank account or what school they go to or their background or who their parents are. It's each young person should be given the same opportunity and the same amount of love as the next person. It isn't like that, but we at least should try and balance it out a bit, you know. And if my story enables those who have the authority to make things a bit more balanced, then my voice will continue, and it just seems to be getting a bit louder and louder, but that's not a problem. You know, I'll just keep talking.
It's going to get louder and even louder.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, y'all are like, tap in, man. Tap in, you know. As Alison said, what have you got to fight for? You know what I mean? It's very easy to, you know, look at life in a way that's debilitating, and there's no hope and there's no prospects and whatever else. But as discussed, as felt, as heard, hope that y'all can just connect with the message. We always ask this question as the final segment, you know. And it would be, if you could leave a message to, you know, the world or a younger person, what would that be?
Many things, but the thing that I leave my session saying to young people is we have to acknowledge and appreciate how much pain people can live in, how difficult life can be. Trying to get them to see, oh, you're lucky, you're fortunate. That isn't how to speak to young people. We have to acknowledge things aren't okay. But I just want them to try their absolute hardest to look at it a little bit differently, because you might be living in pain, you might have faced trauma, you might be suffering, but please try your absolute hardest to remember that you have something that Josh will never have again. You have a life, and that life might be shit. Joshua's life was shit, but if we don't keep trying, how do we know at what point it's going to change? You know, every day I try in the hope that one day it will change for me. Joshua inspired me to see change is possible. Joshua inspired me to see that you can live in pain, and Joshua showed me that you can change and move forward with pain in your heart. And I hope that any young person or any person who has suffered, who is suffering, that's lost, that lives in pain, sees some little spark in themselves that's worth trying to ignite. And then if we can ignite it, and we'll just let that flame bellow through society and through life, and then one day they can, you know, hopefully live full beam. And that's all I'd want to say.
Massive words, you know. I'm literally just so touched, because I spoke to, you know, Uncle Ronny, who linked us up, who connected the dots, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna say, I don't know how I'm gonna approach, like, them speaking to P is like, it's not an interview, it's conversation, and I'm sat here now and I just feel like Superman, bro. I feel like I can do so much more.
But you can, grateful. But can I also just say something?
All the listeners as well. Right.
If you look on your arm,
yeah.
What tattoo is in colour?
Love. What too?
And that's all that I keep on looking at.
Okay.
So what you can give, first and foremost, is love yourself. That is the most important thing. And that's not an easy thing to do, because how are you able to love yourself? And once we love even just the smallest bit of ourselves, it enables hope. If we have love in whatever capacity, throw in hope and try, then once we have that established, then every single person you meet, every life you touch, that will start to spill out on them. Whatever family members you have, go home and show them what that word really means. And then you will give them everything they need, that in the worst case scenario in life, that is what they will have. And that is what they will be able to cling on to in those moments of darkness. And I still have that. So in the moment of pain and the deepest, darkest pits of despair that I live in, I have that word to hold me and take me through to the next section. And that's what you can give people. You can take that and you can show people what that word really means.
It's definitely felt. It's definitely felt. Just want to thank you, like, massively, like, from the depths of myself, Paris, you know, everyone who's going to be watching this.
But thank you both for taking the time to speak to me. You know, thank you for, you know, coming to me and speaking to me, and it's been a pleasure meeting you both.
I've never felt this overwhelmed in a sense where I don't even know how to phase out, like, close, or because the work doesn't stop. When the lights are out and the camera goes off, the work must continue. So it isn't a goodbye. It's
not. It's we'll have a nice cup of coffee or a drink now.
I'll see you later.
Then we'll talk about the event.
I'll see you
and
later.
off we go. This is the start of the adventure.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love, people.
Both of you.
Alison Cope.
Thank
The
you.
One Devotion. Paris Up North. Stay tuned. Thank you.
So, very happy day. Really happy day. He'd got his iTunes money. He was just living his life all over social media, showing everybody, look what I've got, you know, etc., etc. And then, you know, then he went to an event and a minor disagreement became the end of his life. And, you know, that small argument, he was stabbed once, and it was an absolute desperate fight to live.